My name is Lauren. I'm 33. I didn't want my identity to be the smoking mom. My first experience with Juul, I do remember being like, this is good. It's like a cigarette, but not. I don't miss smoking at all. Like, I can officially say it grosses me out.
Juul is the tobacco alternative that delivers nicotine satisfaction without cigarette ash or lingering odor. Make the switch at JUUL.com/sports.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Oh, baby, we got the sights, sounds, and inevitability of this Duke devastation we're all going to experience. And also, McCullum on DiVincenzo, was it really RIP or condensation homes? Jackie, Stone, Israel, Woody Page, who's with me? Let's go!
I'm where? Condensation. Compensation for condensation.
What kind of pants are those, Tony?
Tight pants, Israel. Very tight pants.
Show off.
You could watch the highlights of this Duke team on repeat, non-stop, for days. And since they're Duke, you're going to do that because this is what we do on TV, right? This is about to get all-consuming because when Duke is Duke, they're the Roman Empire. Putting up 118, beating number 2 Kentucky by 34, and all the freshmen. Jackie McMullen, first to you. How big of a wow was this?
This was a big wow, and it was as much because of what Duke did, but who they did it against. This is easily the worst loss of John Calipari's career in terms of numbers, in terms of embarrassment, in terms of everything. And Zion Williamson, if you don't follow high schools very closely, which I don't, so he's like this urban legend we've all been waiting to see, and then he comes out and he's bigger than you thought and better than you think. And he scores 28 points, which is second only all time to a rookie record because his teammate, R.J. Barrett, dropped 33 on Kentucky.
Yeah.
So what we saw last night was nothing short of amazing. John Calipari invented the one and done lineup, and now Mike Krzyzewski has perfected.
Kevin Blackstone?
Yeah, I'll have to second all of that. I had seen all the highlights of Williamson, but I had not seen R.J. Barrett, the Canadian, and he was spectacular. I mean, he looked like he could walk onto an NBA roster or maybe right into an NBA rotation right now. And then just the rest of the team, the guy I felt bad for was Joey Baker, who's the 5th freshman on that team. Why not just start him and have the 5 fab all over again? That's what I want those Duke guys to do.
You're going to flip it up. I like what you did there.
Exactly. You can't have it the other way. So just start that guy right now. No, it was a spectacular start. You know, we've seen this kind of sort of before when Kentucky had all those freshman stars, and it's the beginning of the season. Normally you would see it later on, but for right now it was great television.
Yeah, Israel, to see them gel as quickly as they did, what did you see from this Duke team especially?
Yeah, exactly that. I'm just so surprised when you see these group of freshmen just come out and look like it's midseason already. They're doing this against Kentucky, another team loaded with talent, and the separation just gets greater and greater, meaning the score as you go along. And it's just like, wow, that's not supposed to happen at this time of the year. That's not supposed to happen with freshmen. You've seen John Calipari struggle year after year to get his team on the right path, and then by the end of the year is finally playing well. This team looked amazing, and the wow factor was just the physical nature of Zion Williamson, to actually see him play and realize, man, there's nobody in the NBA that weighs more than him other than one person, which I actually want to check that because it feels like it can't possibly be true. But also just the idea that R.J. Barrett looks like an NBA-ready player right off the bat. And, man, this is they probably, with Cam Reddish, might have the top 3 picks in next year's draft. It's just amazing to watch. And the fact that he's doing it the way Calipari does it, you could say, to Jackie's point, that he's putting the UK in Duke.
Okay, the UK and Duke. Can I get a thumbs up or thumbs down from Israel Gutierrez on whether that works? It was very Woody-like.
Okay.
You're going the wrong way, Gutierrez. All right, how about you, Woody Page? What was the wow last night?
Let me help Jackie. Wow! That was really incredible. But let me help you out, Tone and Israel. It's not like they just showed up and greeted each other last night. They went on a trip. They've been playing together. They've been practicing together. They know
all
each other from AAU basketball.
All teams do that.
All of that, really, I mean, when you think about it, they do have probably the top 3 guys in the NBA draft next year, but they are going to have them together. I thought about if you could go from high school ball to the NBA, really, as it will happen soon, they would be in the NBA playing. Instead, they're going to have 1 year, not 4 years at Duke, as we used to have, and it's going to be incredible. I just think that that they put together a group, and you didn't even talk about Redick and Jones. Those two guys are outstanding, too. So, really.
What impressed you, and who impressed you most last night about Duke, Woody?
Well, I think that it was Williamson because he reminds me of what Charles Barkley would have liked to have been when he was in college. But he's about 6 inches taller and he's about 20 pounds heavier, and nobody can stop him. He makes every official have to make a decision when he rolls to the basket because he's going to shoot a lot of free throws.
I don't think he's 6 inches taller than Barkley. How about you, Israel Gutierrez?
What impressed me most was Zion's body, but if you look at Cam Reddish there dropping 22 and being that third freshman option, you can't really focus on anybody on this.
Jackie, you said something about this team being the one and done to perfection. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what you're implying here. Speaking of perfection, is this a team that can chase perfection? I saw it on Twitter last night. I didn't see many columns with the headline of this, but people are going there.
Well, now come on now. Let's not get carried away. All these kids are 18 and 19 years old. What they did was amazing, but you know that they can have an 8-point outing here somewhere in here. They got to play at North Carolina the very last day of the season. Let's have some drama and have them go undefeated to that final last day against the Tar Heels.
The biggest piece of drama for me, though, was that this team, and this is Duke. Everybody knows what Duke's doing. They didn't get the Duke preference to be number one to start the year because Kansas is deserving in a lot of ways and Kentucky is deserving in a lot of ways. But this is an actually underrated Duke team, which I think is the first time anyone can ever say that. We're going to move on. Kansas 92, Michigan 87. Jayhawks led the whole way. This wasn't even that close. And it's more about these new arrivals, Quentin Grimes and Dedrick Lawson, impacting for Kansas. KB, if Duke is the best team, does Kansas look like number 1A to you?
Well, I can't say they look like number 1A, and that's not a knock on them. That's just because we saw a 34-point blowout by a team that we're talking about right now as possibly going wire to wire undefeated. So I can't make them 1A. I can make them what they should be, which is the number 2 team in the country right now. And they look like they slipped up a little bit. Maybe their attention span got a little loose at the end of that game to close out Michigan State, but they were able to hammer it down. They have some veterans on that team, which is something the freshmen really don't have to rely on. So I could make them number 2.
Israel Gutierrez?
Yeah, I mean, you watch that early on and you think, wow, Quentin Grimes, really good. Those 6 3-pointers are great. Azubuike looks huge on the inside. Might actually look bigger than Zion Williamson. I'd like to weigh both of those guys. And you say, wow, this team is really good. Maybe the Feds are the only people that can beat them. And really, then you wait another hour or so and you watch Duke play and you're just like, man, it just feels like it's overwhelming talent, if you will. And I trust Kansas in their talent. I trust in their ability. I trust they're going to run a lot and maybe even tire out some of these teams, even a team like Duke. But when watching those games back to back, you can't say that they are right now on the same.
Let me ask you this, because watching Duke, watching Kansas, but the offense everywhere in college basketball last night. I think Gonzaga put up 120. I think the offensive juggernaut of Auburn put up 101. Are we looking at another offensive revolution here? Jackie, what do you want to face off here?
Absolutely. And it's been coming for a while now, Tony. What does the NBA stress? 3 and D. If you have those 2 skills, you're going to have a chance to play at the next level. So if you're a smart college coach and you want to recruit those kids for that 1 year, you're going to make them play 3 and D. Up tempo.
Jackie, I agree with you that every coach has to actually talk about pace to the recruits because they want to play in the NBA. But here are 2 other points. They play 8 minutes a game less than the NBA, yet they're scoring at the same kind of pace. Why is that true? Shorter 3-point line. And guys that are freshmen don't play much defense. So when you combine that, you're going to have more scoring in college.
Does anybody else think, Kevin, Israel, this is an overreaction at some point to one game, which of course it is. But, I mean, those numbers were pretty high last night, Kevin. Go ahead.
Yeah, but people are shooting the ball a lot better right now. Remember, you look at the Ball family and what they were doing out there at Chino Hills. I mean, this is a lot of high school basketball right now. It's getting up and down in transition, just like Jackie pointed out, and trying to score as many points as you can.
Jackie.
Yep. You know what else? This is the thing. Shooting threes is not for just guards anymore. Everybody shoots 3, even 7-foot centers. That's how you're brought up.
Wouldn't you love to play in the game right now, Jackie? Wouldn't you be great? You'd be.
You know what? I couldn't hit a 3-pointer, so no, I'd be a dinosaur. I'd be Jalil Okafor. I'd be done.
We'll move on. College football rankings. The big move is Michigan into the top 4. Woody Page, you think Michigan could be a keeper in the top 4?
Well, there's one game that's going to determine that, and that's at Ohio State. We know that Michigan has one of the premier defenses in all of football, maybe the best. But the problem with Ohio State is they give up more than 400 yards per game in a lot of the games. So, yes, they can stay in the top 4 if they beat Ohio State at home, and that's going to be a tough task. Otherwise, you're going to see the Big 12 have a chance to Oklahoma or West Virginia to sneak into that 4th spot.
So you think there's a path for the Big 12 as well, specifically on Michigan getting the 4 yesterday, Israel. What do you think?
I thought that was where they're supposed to be. They have the number one defense in the country, and they right now look like a team that's on a roll. But I'm not so sure of a couple things. I'm not so sure they're going to beat Ohio State. I think that's going to be where they tumble, and we're going to have somebody else come in. But even if they do, as Woody mentioned with the Big 12, you've got Oklahoma and West Virginia. Oklahoma, as the number 6 team here, could go a win against West Virginia and then another win against West Virginia. And then all of a sudden they're looking like maybe the better one-loss team next to Michigan. There's no guarantee that those two are going to stay in the place that they are right now.
Yeah, the conspiracy theorist in me says that this was a setup. This is the perfect thing for television so that you have that Michigan-Ohio State game the final weekend to determine whether or not Michigan's going to be in that number 4 spot or whether or not their arch rival, Ohio State, is going to ruin their season for them. Perfect setup.
Jackie McMullen.
Oh, come on. Really, KB? What else do you want Michigan to do?
Yes, really.
They are the darlings of this top 4 for a simple reason. They do the smart thing. If you're going to lose early and lose to a ranked team. And that's what they did. They went to Notre Dame the first weekend of the season and they lost. And they've been great defensively ever since. And that's what this committee loves. Don't lose late. I'm telling you, it never comes
Kevin,
out
I don't
well
even think you need to have a conspiracy theory, honestly. It's just the way it always works out. Because who's ahead of Michigan right now? The team they lost to. What if Notre Dame were to lose, be a one-loss team, but then have the head-to-head over Michigan? Would you drop Notre Dame below Michigan or not? It depends when they lose, and it's going to be later in the season. Let me ask you this, Israel Gutierrez, in your jurisdiction at least. UCF asked why they weren't moving up, and the reason they were given was defense. How does that sit with you, knowing how college football is played right now?
It's pretty fair. You got to look at the opponents as well. They gave up 40 points to Temple, right? There haven't been this great dominant team. They have Mackenzie Milton. He's a great quarterback. He's the main reason why they have this winning streak, but they are not a dominant team. They're a good college football team ranked right about where they should be. And frankly, they got a really tough game a couple Saturdays from now against Cincinnati, which might hand them a first loss in a while.
Woody Page?
They haven't lost in 2 calendar years, and they got to number 10, and they keep winning, and they drop down. That makes no sense. It's unfair. How many points do they have to win every game by? I think they belong in the top 8, and if we had a playoff, they would enter into it.
It's amazing, though, because that defense applies, it applies to every team in the Big 12. It applies to how everybody's playing except for maybe Alabama. Speaking of defense, somebody going to want to play some defense on Israel Gutierrez today? We'll be back and buy or sell next.
Stop shooting the threes.
Yeah, it's the pace. It's playing the pace.
I think smoking always affected my daily life because I was a closet smoker. It really sort of controlled my entire day. My boss is the one that recommended Juul, so I decided to give it a try. You don't get any of the odor of smoking. There's no ash all over your car. I would say give it a try.
Get the flavor and satisfaction of smoking without the mess of cigarette ash or lingering odor. Switch to Juul. Check out JUUL.com/sports. If you don't smoke or vape, don't start.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Welcome back to Around the Horn, brought to you by Chase. Coming to you from the Seaport District at Pier 17.
An ambitious crossover event leads off Buy or Sell. And I say this on a new TV show with new floating head, augmented reality, a second screen viewing with scoring, and a host wearing very tight pants. The New Orleans Saints, on a 7-game winning streak, average 34 points a game, and they're signing and adding Dez Bryant. The ambition there is real, Woody Page. Do you endorse the signing of Dez?
Totally buying this. Dez Bryant, well-rested, playing indoors in New Orleans like he did in Dallas, playing for a championship possible team, catching passes from Drew Brees. That's going to be easier for him, and he can hang out in the French Quarter. Perfect.
You think that's going to be a good thing? Okay, Israel, how about you?
No, I totally endorse it. I think if you're going to show people that you still can get open, you might as well play for the quarterback who can get anybody open with his precision. So if you can't actually catch some passes from Drew Brees, your career probably is.
KB?
And the new catch rules will certainly help him out in that regard. And the other thing is, look, you're talking about a team that just lost Ted Ginn. This is perfect timing. Go out and get a veteran, plug him right in. You're good to go.
Yeah, and you know what? You need some depth behind Mike Thomas. And Dez Bryant can help them even if he doesn't catch a ton of passes because you got to pay attention to him. Even if he ends up just being a decoy for this team, he's going to help Mike Thomas get open.
Everybody's buying this. Nobody think there might be a personality issue, or why add a strong personality like this?
Then you cut him.
What's the risk?
Get rid of him. No harm, no foul.
Buy or sell 2, NBA All-Star Draft that everybody thought should be televised last year. That wasn't because of, shall we say, sensitivity issues, will be televised this year. NBA and players have come to agreement. Israel Gutierrez, how do you see this playing out?
Well, obviously they're a year late on this one. We would have loved to see LeBron and Steph last year. I think it'll play out pretty decently. I just don't think it'll be as dramatic. I think players will be known, coming in. They'll have a game plan now. They don't want to have everybody, judge them based on or start some sort of drama here. Although I would love to see if the two respective leading vote getters were Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. I want to see those two guys in a room.
That's the point. All right. KB, how about you?
Exactly. Look, this is what we talked about last year. We could not believe that they were not putting another part of reality television on television. Now you're going to have another part of reality television on television with these NBA players who can't get along at the end of games, flinging balls at each other and getting mad at each other because somebody scores an extra bucket. Do you foresee this being an issue? No, I don't see it being an issue. I see it being great television.
Jackie Mack, how about you?
Yeah, the first thing you do is put a camera in the green room and show that solitary figure, the last one picked with his head down. I'll tell you what, if it is Kyrie Irving as the leading vote getter in the East, because you got to have East versus West, let's just go along with me here and let's say Jamal Murray's an all-star. Kyrie, do you take him? He just got 48 on you.
That's good, Jackie. Woody Page, how about you?
Wanted it last year, getting it this year, but not quite enough. How about more augmented reality where actually viewers at home can help the players choose the players that they want on their team? So they turn and see what the stats are, and they do that. I think that makes sense.
Israel, do you think that picks will change because people are televised right now?
I do think that players will try to avoid certain issues, right? If there's a player that the country would say, hey, that player's clearly better, but you've got an issue with him, therefore it would be obvious if you didn't pick him. I think they're just going to go ahead and say, hey, let's go in the order that the audience would assume we go. Yes.
Yeah, let's just say, for argument's sake, Draymond Green's on the board, you're Steph, you're picking, and let's just say, for argument's sake, somehow Giannis is still on the board. Are you seriously going to take Draymond Green over Giannis? Yes, you are, because you're going to try to win a championship, and you don't want to have to explain that to Draymond
Green.
The
leading vote getters are from each conference. I got to imagine Giannis is the captain. We'll move on. Buy or sell 3, a check-in on how things are going with the Washington Wizards right now. Woo! Mavericks 119, Zardos 100, Washington 2-8. KB, is this fixable?
No, it's not fixable, and I'll tell you why it's not fixable. Because the most tradable part is probably John Wall, and if they don't deal him before next year, they're on the hook for him for $37 million next year. You got to do it now.
I was going to say, is he even tradable? Everybody in the NBA is tradable, you hear, but is John Wall, as presently constituted, contractually tradable?
If they get rid of him right now, maybe.
Jackie Mack?
Not next year.
Yeah, but if they get rid of him right now, there's a trade kicker that goes along,
exactly.
15% trade kicker. So he'd have to be willing to waive that. There's something up with John Wall. He just doesn't look like himself to me. Beal has surpassed him, I think, for now as the most reliable player. Your problem is with him, Porter, and Beal, you're $93 million next year tied up. That's 85%.
When you're saying there's something wrong with John Wall or something not right with him, you're thinking it's physical? What are you saying? He's injured right now?
No, I think it's more mental. He looks to me like a guy that's not into it. He's such a talented player, and part of his talent is, playing at warp speed, getting guys going. I just don't see that this year.
Woody Page?
No, it's not fixable, but don't blame Ernie Grunfeld. He's a volunteer, and he and I came on.
Volunteer? I'm pretty sure they're paying him. So. All right. Gutierrez, how about you?
No, I just don't think they're very talented. I think they're got guys that are overrated, and John Wall's their best talent. And if they could move him, it'd be great. But a team would have to change basically their whole team to take on John Wall. He's that type of player. So no, it's definitely not fixable this year. Ernie Grunfeld's got a lot of work.
Woody Page, you know what's good? When you don't advance the showdown, you work for free. You're a volunteer right now. Blackstone's done as well. Gutierrez McMullen, for the first time in their history of augmented reality. We'll be back.
Thank you for your service, Woody.
When tracking the domestic dust bunny, you commonly find them hiding under wardrobes next to lost socks. Don't move too suddenly or they'll scurry off. What's utterly fascinating about the dust bunny is that although they are not actually sentient creatures, when they hear that Geico not only saves people money, but also has a 97% customer satisfaction rating, it's obvious to them you should switch. Because yes, switching to Geico is a no-brainer. Oh no, it's the dust bunny's only natural predator. Run along, dust bunnies, run along.
ESPN.com/ATH show is where we're doing all our second screen viewing, and you can score the arguments. Score versus me or with me, and score it right now. Jackie Mack versus Israel Gutierrez. Good luck in showdown. Showdown 1, MLB Insider. Yankees may move Giancarlo Stanton to get Bryce Harper. This was in Wallace Matthews' column Monday in the Daily News. They just got Stanton last year, Israel. Would that make sense?
It wouldn't make sense, but it also just kind of makes me sad because it's the Yankees, man. Keep them both. You've got a wide open spot at first base. Put Harper there.
Oh, boy.
Pay for him.
You know, you say it makes sense, but as you know, Stanton didn't have the greatest year ever. And do you remember how much they paid him? It was a boatload of money. I don't think it's as easy as like, okay, let's just move this guy along and bring in our new $300 million.
The move they needed to make was getting J.D. Martinez and Christian Yelich instead of Stanton last year. Wouldn't you agree? Jackie Mack, that's why it's your point. Showdown 2.
Captain Hindsight.
What C.J. McCollum did to Dante DiVincenzo last night. Was it worthy of the score he received, Jackie?
No, it really wasn't. So let's say he's a rookie and he says something stupid on his Instagram and he says, I was hacked. Here he's saying, you know what, I was guarding him and I slipped. Proof right there, he did slip. He slipped.
No, man, it doesn't matter. There are no excuses. Once you fall for a crossover, when you literally fall for a crossover, it doesn't matter the reason. Social's going to blast
you know what? And that social media hack was a little too close to home for DiVincenzo. Israel Gutierrez coming from behind, getting the W.
Woohoo!
Out in Phoenix, there's a player named Devin Booker. You might remember him. He scored 70 points in a game. Man, he is wasting his career right now in Phoenix. That team last year was the worst in the league and had a 9.5 points differential negative, right? Negative 9.5. This year, they're 2-8, already starting at 13.5. You got to do something out there in Phoenix. You're wasting Devin Booker, and pretty soon you're going to waste DeAndre Ayton's career. What's going on over there?
Israel Gutierrez, the winner for today. We're on a 23.5-hour break. We'll see you tomorrow.
If you're a smoker, you know switching isn't easy. You've tried vapes and e-cigs. They just didn't deliver the satisfaction you expected. But Juul is different. It's not an e-cigarette. It's a vapor product that actually satisfies. Plus, Juul is simple to use, and there's no cigarette ash and no lingering odor. As a smoker, you expect a certain nicotine experience, right? Juul delivers. Give Juul a try. Check out JUUL.com/sports. Switch and be satisfied. Yes, you can do both. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.